Picture this. A world where humans are just another species, trying to make it through the day without becoming someone's lunch. It's a tough life, but hey, at least they have each other, right? Wrong. Early humans were more like a bunch of grumpy roommates who couldn't agree on whose turn it was to take out the trash. But then, something amazing happened. Humans started to evolve, and not just in the growing an extra toe kind of way. They began to use tools, communicate, and work together. It's like they finally realized that maybe, just maybe, life would be a little easier if they stopped trying to beat each other up with rocks and sticks. And so, the dawn of civilization began. Humans started to build, create, and innovate. They discovered fire, which was great for cooking food and telling spooky stories around the campfire. They also invented language, which was useful for sharing ideas and gossip. Who knows, maybe the first words ever spoken were, "Did you see what Grug wore to the hunting party last night?" Fast forward a few thousand years, and humans have made a groundbreaking discovery. Plants can be grown, and animals can be domesticated. No more chasing after wild boars with a pointy stick, hoping for the best. With agriculture, humans could finally settle down and build permanent homes. But let's be real, farming isn't exactly a walk in the park. It's back-breaking work, and you're always at the mercy of the weather. Plus, you have to deal with pests like locusts and rabbits, who seem to think that your carefully cultivated crops are their own personal all-you-can-eat buffet. Despite the challenges, agriculture was a game-changer for humans. It allowed them to create stable communities and develop complex societies. And with all that free time, they saved from not having to chase after their food. They could focus on important things like art, religion, and figuring out how to make beer. As agriculture spread like wildfire, not literally, that would be bad for the crops, humans started to build the first cities. The Sumerians, who lived in what is now Iraq, were one of the earliest civilizations to leave their mark on history. They developed a complex system of writing, which they used to keep track of important things like taxes and who owed whom a goat. They also built massive ziggurats, which were like the skyscrapers of their day. Except, instead of housing office workers, they were used for religious ceremonies and possibly the occasional human sacrifice. The Sumerians were a pretty impressive bunch. But they weren't the only ones building civilizations. In Egypt, the pharaohs were busy constructing pyramids and coming up with new ways to style their beards. And in China, the emperors were laying the groundwork for a society that would last for thousands of years, all while trying to keep their robes from getting caught in the wheels of their chariots. Speaking of Egypt, let's take a moment to talk about the land of the Nile. The ancient Egyptians were a fascinating civilization, with their hieroglyphs, mummies, and mysterious sphinxes. They were also master builders, creating monuments that have endured for thousands of years. But life in ancient Egypt wasn't all pyramids and parties. The pharaohs were known for their love of bureaucracy, with a complex system of government that made filing taxes look like a walk in the park. And let's not forget about the mummies, which were basically the ancient Egyptian version of a stuffed animal. Except instead of being filled with cotton, they were filled with actual human organs. Despite their quirks, The Egyptians managed to create one of the longest-lasting empires in history. They were a force to be reckoned with, both on the battlefield and in the fashion world. After all, who else could make wearing a headdress made of snakes look so stylish? Moving on to the classical age, we have the Greeks and the Romans. The Greeks were known for their love of philosophy, mathematics, and wearing togas. They were also fond of arguing, which they elevated to an art form. In fact, the Greeks loved arguing so much that they invented the concept of the Socratic method, which basically involves asking a bunch of questions until the other person admits they don't know what they're talking about. This might not be the best approach for making friends, but it did lead to some pretty impressive philosophical breakthroughs. Meanwhile, in China, Confucius was busy teaching people about the importance of respect, harmony, and filial piety. He also had some pretty strong opinions about beards, which he believed were a sign of wisdom and virtue. Unfortunately for Confucius, the emperor at the time was not a fan of facial hair, so his teachings took a little while to catch on. No discussion of ancient civilizations would be complete without mentioning the Roman Empire. The Romans started out as a small city-state with big dreams, and they quickly grew to become one of the most powerful empires in history. They were known for their impressive engineering feats, like building aqueducts and roads that connected their vast empire. They were also known for their love of blood sports, like gladiator fights and chariot races. Because nothing says civilized society like watching people fight to the death for entertainment. But, as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. The Roman Empire eventually fell, thanks to a combination of factors like corruption, political instability, and barbarian invasions. It's like the ancient version of a reality TV show, with plenty of drama and backstabbing. After the fall of Rome, Europe entered a period known as the Middle Ages. It was a time of castles, knights, and questionable hygiene practices. Feudalism became the dominant social system, with powerful lords ruling over peasants who worked the land. The Catholic Church also became a major power during this time, with the Pope wielding both spiritual and temporal authority. This led to some pretty interesting political maneuvering, with kings and queens vying for the Pope's favor, while also trying to keep their own nobles in line. But life in the Middle Ages wasn't all bad. There were also plenty of opportunities for adventure, like going on a quest to slay a dragon or rescue a princess from a tower. Just don't forget to pack some extra tunics and a toothbrush, because bathing wasn't exactly a top priority back then. That's it for today. Come back next time as we dive into the Islamic Golden Age and beyond. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.